A lot of people die full of their dreams, full of talent, full of ideas, full of skills, full of intelligence and abilities that they never reached for. They never tapped. They never got into. They never used it. Never used it. And so how do we do that? What is it that blocks us? Well, I mentioned one. Mine was fear. Here's another one. I didn't feel good enough. I was comparing myself to other people. I didn't feel, because I didn't have a college education, and based upon my failures and disappointments in the past and things that I'd attempted to do and they did not work out, I built a very practical, realistic, logical case on why I couldn't have my dream. And so I want whatever dream you have, I want you to expand it, I want you to increase it, and I want to warn you, don't ask yourself how you're going to do it. How is none of your business. Don't get trapped there, and don't worry about failing. You're going to fail. You're going to make some mistakes. You're going to look stupid. Why? It's called life. Write this down. Make it okay to fail. Goethe says that which does not kill you will make you stronger.
Is that all right? That was motivational right there. How's everybody doing today? No, come on. How's everybody doing today? How about the over there in the back? Right here, right there. Okay, how about over there? Just kidding. That's my helicopter right there. I'll be leaving in a few minutes. No. Man, it's good to be here this morning. As you all know, some of you know, I'm Pastor Marcus. Man, it's such an honor. Let's give a hand for, I neglected to do this, I apologize, for our pastors, Pastor Ken and Kathy of this church. For giving me this opportunity to do this. That was Les Brown, in case some of you caught his voice, but a great motivational speaker on dreams and following your dreams and fulfilling your dreams. I want to talk about that this morning. I want to talk about I got big dreams. How many dreamers are in the house today? It's okay to be truthful. You're not raising your hand. That's fine. It's like I don't know what it is to dream. That's cool. That's hopefully we'll define that today and get you to dreaming, right? If we're going to talk about dreams, then we got to talk about what we all know, which is what happens in our sleep, right? Dreams come in our sleep. I believe that sometimes what we dream about are the very things that God wants us to act out in our lives. So I don't build my life just on what I dreamt last night, because how many are having really kind of weird dreams? Y'all having some weird dreams. Like, what did I eat last night? I dreamed I was a cat and I was forming a group, a female group. What? But we dream, and the Bible is replete with stories actually of how God uses dreams to speak to us, to get us to know something that he needs us to know. I believe that some of the greatest ideas of innovation are introduced to us in our subconscious and unconscious state. I believe that. I believe that's something that happens to us when we are vulnerable. And I'm going to have a guy who is much smarter than me kind of explain that in a minute. I believe that dreams can motivate us into action and consequently influencing our future. If you're not a dreamer, I want you to start dreaming tonight, today even. You don't have to go to sleep to dream. You know, you can dream. Just don't dream while I'm talking, because then that'll just be rude. But no. But anyone can dream, no matter what age, no matter what status of life. As a matter of fact, no matter where you've been, where you're going, you can dream. And I believe they are the whispers of God to us. But if we're talking about physically, when we dream in our REM state, rapid eye movement, it's when we're deep, it's when we're snoring really, really good. I believe that something happens in our subconscious that awakens within us, right? There are things that we have seen, there are things that we have heard, watch this, that we weren't necessarily conscious of throughout the day, but when we sleep, those things come to life in our dreams. All right, there's a theoretical physicist by the name of Michio Kaku he describes it this way. Let's roll that for a second. He can explain it to you much better.
Freud had a whole collection of interpretation of dreams. Scientists have looked at and said, nonsense. Now we understand the physiology of the dreaming process. And we realize that it comes at the back of the brain, a very primitive part of the brain, and that certain parts of the brain are shut off when you dream. First of all, your prefrontal cortex is basically shut off, it's quiet. Your orbital frontal cortex, that is your conscience, is also shut off. But that part of the brain is your fact checker. The part of the brain that said, that's not right, something's wrong, is right behind your eyes. That's shut off. What is active when you dream is your amygdala. And what does your amygdala govern? Fear and emotions. And so right then you know that when you dream, the active part of the brain is not the fact checker, not the rational brain, it's the emotional brain, the fearful brain that is active when you dream.
See, I believe that happens because God is up to something. See, if the prefrontal cortex is disengaged, which means it's the fact checker or the rational part of the brain, the part that says, that don't make no sense, right? The part that says, I'm going to be the next president of the United States, whatever. The part that says, I'm going to be the next billionaire who creates this or sells this company to this web developer or whatever the case is, that part of the brain is cut off. The fact checker, it's cut off. It's disengaged. Because I believe this. I believe that even in your sleep, the Father can introduce to you big ideas that will change the world, and you can't do nothing about it. Because you don't reason it away. It happens. That's why some of our dreams are fantastical. They're huge, they're big, and they like just morph into different things. Because I believe that the Father whispers to you in your sleep, this is what I want you to do. Like again, it doesn't have to happen in your sleep. So we're going to talk about dreams and visions. I believe this. If you're taking notes, write this down. That dreams, big dreams, are God's plans for the earth. I believe that big dreams are God's plans for the earth. Secondly, I believe that God whispers to you in your sleep so that you can't dismiss it with rationale. So that you can't dismiss it with rationale. Thirdly, you must get quiet to hear the Father's plans. You must get quiet to hear the Father's plans. I think some of us are way too busy doing way too much because we feel like it's in the hustle. Yeah, I got to get different streams of income going. I got to do this and I got to do that and I got to do this and I got to do that. All the while, we're missing the very thing that He wants us to do. We're doing this, we're doing that, we're running, we're hustling, we're doing this. All the while, He's saying, be still and know that I am God, the big dream giver. You're chasing bumblebees while I'm trying to show you an eagle. You're chasing all of this. And for some of y'all, it's working. It's like, yeah, I got to check from this. I got to check from this. I got that. And it's like, yeah, but, you're kind of missing it because the Father's saying, but I need you to be still. And I want to talk to you about the big dream, what's going to happen in the earth because of me through you. There are examples in the Old and New Testament, just to name a few, of how God gives us dreams and visions. In Genesis 15, God used a vision to remind Abraham that he would have a son and be the father of many nations. Genesis 20, Abimelech took Sarah, Abraham's wife, into his harem, but God sent him a dream telling him not to touch Sarah. I know Abraham was glad for that dream. I know he was like, thank you, God. Genesis 28, Jacob had his famous dream of a ladder reaching to heaven on which angels ascended and descended. In this dream, Jacob received God's promise that Abraham's blessing would be carried on through him. Genesis 41, Pharaoh had a dream which Joseph interpreted. Judges 7:12, Gideon overheard the Midianite and the Amalekite soldier relate a dream that he had just had. You remember that story? Gideon hears the Midianite soldier tell of Gideon's success over them. You got to read that story. It's pretty phenomenal. If I can hear my enemy's dream and know that I'm victorious in my enemy's dream, it can't nothing stop me. You having dreams about me, Jack. I know you scared of me. You having dreams about me. Huh? That's what happened. So he sneaks down by the camp and he hears this dream and he's like, so the New Testament, Luke 1 and 5, God used a vision to tell Zacharias that he and his wife Elizabeth would have a son later known as John the Baptist. I'll come back to that. Matthew 1:20, Joseph would have divorced Mary when he found out she was pregnant, but God sent an angel to him in a dream. And the book of Revelation is replete. Nearly the entire book of Revelation is a vision John had while exiled on the island of Patmos. John's vision explains in more detail some of the events that God had shown Daniel in actuality. So we know now that God uses dreams to speak to us. Many of you out here, how many business owners are? That's awesome. All right, I'm expecting some freebies. Let me say, remember who that is. I'm coming to your place. That's good. You have to step out and do this. And I think it's safe to say that when you started with your business, it was here and here. And then eventually you had to get it out of here and here because it can't live there. It's safe here. The dream is safe here and here because as I'm molested, can't nobody bother it. It's here. So if you build a building, and that was your dream, you build an office, and that was your dream, if that dream, God forbid, burned down, that's that building. It's not your dream. The dream is safe here and here. So you always got to guard that. But when you dream, when you vision, when you have visions of what it is you want to do in your life for your family, but more importantly, God, what do you want me to do? It's important that we ask ourselves some important questions. Acts 2 says this, in the last days, God says, I will pour out my spirit on all people. Your sons and daughters will prophesy. Your young men will see visions. Your old men will dream dreams. Ask yourself this, 2 questions. Ask yourself this. Is my dream consistent with the Word of God? Is my dream consistent with the Word of God? All right? So that'll cut out a whole lot of foolishness right off the top. If you thinking of something that you know full well is like, that's just not in the Word, it's not the heart of God, then that's probably not. That's your dream. That's something that you have. You had a bad batch of collard greens the night before. Some spicy food that just didn't sit well. Secondly, is it birthed from my relationship with the Father? Is it birthed from your relationship with the Father? How much time do you spend with Him? How much can He download into you? How much time do you spend with Him? Is my dream, is my vision birthed out of my relationship with Him? Is He able to say, come on, son, come on, daughter, sit down by me, let me talk to you. Go out there by the water. I always say that because I love sitting out by the water. Go out by the water, sit down, and let those waves crest in and out, and let Him talk to you. Go down and sit down by the park. Let Him talk to you. Get quiet. Yeah? I believe this. Write this down if you got notes. Your big dreams are not just for you, they have global potential. Your big dreams are not just for you, they have global potential. All right? Taking notes, write this down. Your big dream is valuable. Your big dream is an answer to someone's problem. Think about it. Your big dream requires monomaniacal focus. You know how to spell that? Monomaniac, A-L, monomaniacal focus. It's simply being so focused, laser focused on that one thing. And let's be real, that sometimes your wife is trying to figure out what is wrong with you. That sometimes your husband feels neglected. That sometimes your children, let's just be real. Come on now. Some of the greatest dreamers of our time, they're great dreamers and we celebrate them, but they were probably not so good as husbands and wives and parents, because his dream is for the world. Listen, the dream he gives you is not just yours, it's for the world. Now, that does not mean that we have to live that way. So it's good to kind of step back and say, what I'm dreaming is of the Father, but I have to bring my family along. I have to sometimes step back, be with my wife, be with my husband, be with my children, so that they can take this journey with me as we birth this dream. You get that? You get that? It takes focus, but you can't leave out the people that are most important to you, because actually, as a matter of fact, men, listen to me good. Men, women will incubate your dream. Come on, if you got a big dream, you better tell your wife what that dream is so she can help incubate that dream. I thought more married women would clap, but that's all right. Husbands, I know you read that you are the head of the home, but just because the head anatomically is at the top, that is not your description. You are at the bottom because you are the foundation. So the wife that carries that dream, you become her foundation to cause that dream to be built. That's a marriage term. Your big dream is that idea that will not, I love this right here. Your big dream is that idea that will not leave you alone. It's that thing that bugs you, that grabs you by your shirt in the middle of the day. It's that dream when the night before you was like, I'm tired of this, I'm done. You go to sleep and you wake up, you're like, oh, okay, here we go again. It won't leave you alone. It's relentless. It stays with you. It's like, and I heard somebody say this, and this is very good. If something bothers you, frustrates the snot out of you, you're probably created to fix it. If something is frustrating you day after day, if there's a gadget that you use and you're like, man, if this was just this way, this would be so much better, the light bulb is going off. Eureka, there it is. That's you. What's frustrating you? What's causing you problems? What is the thing that you keep focusing on? Start writing it down, all right? Steven Spielberg said it this way: I don't dream at night, I dream all day. I dream for a living. Habakkuk 2:2. Let's look at this. Habakkuk 2:2. Write down the revelation and make it plain on the tablets, so that a herald may run with it. For the revelation, let's go through this. For the revelation awaits an appointed time. It speaks of the end and will not prove false. Though it linger, wait for it. We just sang it. Don't be far from me. I'm here waiting on you. Watch this. God, yes. It finishes with, it will certainly come and will not delay. Let's write it down. How does a dream become a reality? Let's write this down. How does a dream become reality? Let's deal with it. First thing is this. You got in your liner notes. Write it out in detail. Whatever that dream is, if you're waking up, you know what? I used to get songs, and I still do from time to time, but I used to get songs in my sleep. I remember one time I was out of town in a hotel, and I was asleep, and I heard the song, I look to you, I look to you. It was in my sleep, and I woke up, I was like, oh, this is amazing. Write it down. And I realized it was the radio, and it was Whitney Houston. It was Whitney Houston singing it, and so I said, that ain't my song. but sometimes it is. I'll get songs in my sleep and I'll wake up and I'll write it down, or I'll get ideas in my sleep but throughout the day I'll get ideas and I have to write it down. If it's a song idea, if it's a hook, if it's a whatever, I'll write it down. I'll put it in my phone because they could be great ideas. Think about all that stuff you're sifting through. Oh, this is an idea. This is an idea. Think about how many of those ideas could actually affect the world. Secondly, get clarity and a plan. Get clarity and a plan. Get with someone who can help you understand what your dream is. You got questions? Talk up. Y'all know what I mean by that? Get with someone who has been where you're trying to go, who can help you put together a plan. Talk up. Don't talk to... She said haters. I'm going to get to that. Don't... You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes laterally, sometimes this or down, they don't understand it. So if they don't understand it, they start hating on you. Please, you ain't gonna be no president. Please, you ain't gonna open up no bank. Please, you ain't gonna build no apartment complex. Please, you ain't gonna open up no restaurant. Please, you ain't gonna, please. You don't believe in me. I'm just saying. You ain't even got a college education. I'm just saying. Thanks for all the support. Next, execute the plan. Execute it. Listen, say this, repeat after me. I give myself permission to fail. Give yourself permission to fail. It's what we call here noble failures. You attempted, you tried, that's all right. You didn't quite get it right. The parameters were off, something was wrong. You tried, that's cool. Try it again. Because, see, when you miss, something happens to you when you miss and you fail and you miss and you fail. You begin to develop what is known as muscle memory. Or in other words, if I'm not a very athletic person at all, but if Jordan he tells a story about how he practiced and practiced and practiced. He missed so many free throws. He missed this, that, and the other. But something was happening when he was doing it. He was developing muscle memory so that he knew what to do, and throughout it, he began to correct himself. When you fail, you learn, hopefully you learn what not to do. And then you try it again, and you learn, okay, I messed it up that time. Okay, I got to do it again. And then you try again. Because failure is simply rehearsal for success. Keep doing it. You're going to be all right. Keep trying. Watch this now. Because the more you fail, watch this now, it gives you an amazing capacity to counsel others. You can sit and tell them, oh, I recognize that. Yeah, I did that too. Hey, listen, so this is what you want to do. You want to do this, and you don't want to do this, and you want blah, blah, blah. Right? So don't be afraid of failing. Give yourself permission to fail. Look at this. John 16:21 says this. Let's look at it. You got it? A woman giving birth to a child has pain because her time has come. But when her baby is born, she forgets the anguish because of her joy that a child is born into the world. I have no idea what that's like. And that's with no apologies. I don't ever want to know what that's like. I was there with my wife and I saw it. I felt her nails dug into my hand. She was a trooper. She was amazing. There were times when the little thing would go off that she was having the labor pains, and she wouldn't flinch. The nurse was like, "You okay?" Like, yes. Pretty amazing. But you all who've had children understand what it is to carry something for 9 months, to be uncomfortable. When we slept, sometimes I used to put my knee in her back, and she would arch back because that would give her relief. Carrying a big dream sometimes becomes so uncomfortable because don't nobody else know what it is you're carrying. They don't understand. They don't understand the burden. They don't understand that joy. They don't understand the expectations. They don't understand that vibration that you have. They don't get it, and it's uncomfortable. And here you are wobbling with a big dream and expectation. Nobody else really gets it. I love that idea, that dream. You have to care for it and carry it until you can birth it. And when you birth it, the scripture says, for the joy that a child is born, you forget the pain. Now, I don't know how true that is. You forget the pain because now you're looking at this is what kept me up at night. And guess what? It's going to keep you up at night still. Lastly, like I just said, it's like carrying a baby to full term. Having a big dream is like carrying a baby to full term. Write this down. Find someone who identifies with your dream and knows how to celebrate you. Listen, find someone who identifies with your dream and knows how to celebrate with you. In other words, you got to get rid of the haters. And I hate saying that because it's such a cliche in this time, in the zeitgeist. It's such a cliche. All the haters, take it easy. But the truth is, there are some haters to your dream. There are some opposers to your dream because they don't want to see you have something that amazing. They don't want to see you have something that amazing. So they don't get it. So you got to find somebody. Here's a scripture that I really love. Luke 1:41. It's not on the screen, but let me read this to you. Some of you are familiar with this. When Elizabeth heard Mary's greeting, the baby leaped in her womb, and Elizabeth was filled with the Holy Spirit. What? This is before that. In a loud voice she claimed, "Blessed are you among women, and blessed is the child you will bear. But why am I so favored that the mother of my Lord should come to me?" 44. As soon as the sound of your greeting reached my ears, the baby in my womb leaped for joy. You're going to have to connect with somebody who understands your dream so much that their dream leaps at the same time. Come on, my dream causes your dream to leap at the same time. Do you understand who was inside of Mary and Elizabeth? It was the promise and it was the forerunner. It was Jesus and it was John. And when they came together, they gave each other high fives and said, "What's up, man?" Listen, your dream and my dream, if they connect, we identify with it and then we cover each other. We then support each other. We pray for each other. Come on now. We give our resources for each other. Because Willie, I want to see your dream realized and you want to see my dream realized. Watch this now. And even if my dream kicks off before yours, guess what? You're going to celebrate with me. Just like I'm going to celebrate when your dream kick off. Because I got to get rid of those who would oppose my dream. Let's look at some other opponents of your big dream. One, is thinking too small. I want you to understand something. To God, to the Father, there is no difference in big and small. The God who made universes also made the acorn. As a matter of fact, if you know anything about the golden ratio, something that small in a seashell will show you the answers to the rest of our universe. So something as small as an acorn will give you answers to the universe. And what I'm saying is, to God, there is no big and little dreams. So in other words, don't compare Winston Churchill with the guy who made the Post-its. I wish I made the Post-its. I wish I had thought of that. A scrap of paper for ideas with adhesive on the back that I can just smack on something and say, "Don't forget to pick up." I wish I'd have come up with Facebook. I mean, there's so many ideas out there that's like, wow, so where's mine? Where's yours? Turn to your neighbor. I don't do that much, but turn to your neighbor and say, where's your idea? In the record industry, we call it our Brinks truck. We call it our Brinks truck. When we write that song that we know is it, like, oh, this is our Brinks truck. This is it. This is the one. One day you're going to hear that Brinks truck back up to your house. Beep, 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 beep. Where's your Post-it? Where's your big idea? Right? Second, the opponent of your big dream is being too rational. That's why he has to sneak it to you while you sleep. While you're sleeping, slobbing and snoring, he's got to give you that big idea. So you can't ration it away. So you can't say, oh, that doesn't make any sense. Your fact checker is off. Huh? I told the story before. I was coming out of the gym back in Michigan. And I came across a folded up $20 bill. And I was like, oh, yes. Put it in my pocket, went to the car, and the father said this to me. He says, what's the difference between finding $20 and $20,000? And I said, I went instantly into my dumb rationale. Well, it must be a botched bank robbery, and somebody dropped a bag containing $20,000, and I happened to come across it, look both ways, and then put it in my car. And the father was like, stop, no, don't do that. That ain't even smart. First of all, don't do that. What he was saying was, don't ration away how this could happen. Yours is not to figure out how, it's just to believe that it will. You're not that smart. No, seriously, as smart as some of you are, and I believe we have some geniuses in this place, but you're not that smart to know how this point connects with this point, connects with this point and that point, and gets to, I don't know. So I won't ration it away. So therefore, I leave it open to say, God can do absolutely anything. Come on now. He can do anything. So I can't limit my dreams based on how smart I am. Uh-oh. I can't limit my dreams and my vision based on how smart I am. Because if that's the case, I'll always be selling lemonade outside my house. That's the farthest it'll go. All right, next, staying in your comfort zone. The opponent of your big dreams. Staying in that recliner. Staying in that position of comfort. You're going to have to get up. You're going to have to knock on doors. And you're going to have to be turned down. You're going to be told no several times. And you're going to be told no by some really nasty people. Get out of here. This is ridiculous. That's dumb. What? Personal computer? Good luck. That's exactly what they told him. They told him, who wants a personal computer? Who needs that? Because, see, they weren't thinking how he was thinking. They saw this humongous contraption. That's all. You see what I'm saying? That's how you don't know what God told me. You don't know what he's shown me. You don't know the ideas that I have. So they'll tell you, that's stupid. All right. That's cool. Lastly, allowing others to talk you out of it. Allowing others to talk you out of it. See, sometimes we venerate people so much, we love people so much, we look up to people so much that we'll listen to them even to our demise, or at least the demise of your dream. Yeah, it's like, I have this idea and they're like, no, don't do that. Only because they're concerned about you and they don't want you to fail, but man, it's not their dream, right? Next, warning, got a warning. Sharing your dream will bring the details. Oh yeah. When you open your mouth to share your dream, it will bring the details. Let's get into a story real quick. Genesis 37:5. Genesis 37:5. Joseph had a dream. And when he told it to his brothers, they hated him all the more. Next. He said to them, listen to this dream I had. We were binding sheaves of grain out in the field when suddenly my sheaf rose and stood upright, while your sheaves gathered around mine and bowed down to it. Now, in between this, I'm going to skip to 17. In between this, he tells another part of the dream, and he says how there were 11 stars and that they all paid obeisance to him. They bowed down, and it was actually inclusive of his mother and father and his brothers, and his father pretty much reprimanded him and said, what you saying, son? We going to bow down to you? So let's pick it up at 17. So Joseph went after his brothers and found them near Dothan. That is not Dothan, Alabama. Not yet. That's not what that is. But they saw him in the distance, and before he reached them, they plotted to kill him. Because he had a dream? Here comes that dreamer, they said to each other. Next. Come now, let's kill him and throw him into one of these cisterns and say that a ferocious animal devoured him. Then we'll see what comes of his dreams. Yeah. All because I had a dream? See, look at this. They had an issue with his dream of authority only because of their concept of authority. Huh? See, when you abuse authority and someone takes authority over you, you're overcome with fear. Yeah, because now you're projecting. You think that they're going to abuse their authority over you like you would if you had authority. And so now they're upset with you because like, oh no, you ain't gonna rule me, you ain't gonna rule me. But what if I'm a great ruler? What if I'm a great leader? What if I'm awesome at what I do? What if I'm fair and I'm just? What if? But you don't want me to be in that position because you know what you would do. So they plotted to kill him. Don't let people kill you or your dream. J. Cole said it this way: you can dream, but don't neglect the execution. Everybody under 22 understands that, at least I think somebody will understand that. You can dream, but don't neglect the execution. Meaning, if you're going to dream, there's work to do. You can't stay asleep. You got to get up and do something about your dream. Know this, that your big dream will be tested. Yeah, your big dream will be tested. I don't have much longer. This is, I want you to get this. You're going to have to fight for your dream like a Winston Churchill. You're going to have to struggle for your dream like a Nelson Mandela. A young lawyer at the age of 25 goes to prison for 27 years. For 27 years. With a dream. Wants to end apartheid. Goes to prison for 27 years. As a matter of fact, they even told him, if you cut out all the stuff that you're doing, we'll let you out of here. And he didn't give in. 27 years. Let me show you how faithful God's dreams are. 1994, he comes out of prison. In 1994, runs again and becomes president of South Africa. 27 years later. Big dreams. Well, I'm no Nelson Mandela. Well, who told you that? Who told you that? Don't let people talk you out of it. As a matter of fact, don't let you talk you out of it. Because yes, we're one of our biggest enemies. As soon as we have a good idea, we go, oh, that makes no sense. Okay, never mind. Oh, what if, no, that's okay, that doesn't make. Don't stop talking. Stop talking yourself out of his big idea for you. Or you're going to have to sacrifice your life for it like Martin Luther King. Let's look at some big dreamers real quick. I'm going to close. Look at some big dreamers. Anybody heard of Ray Kroc? You know who Ray Kroc is? Oh, I guarantee you do. Every last one of you grew up on McDonald's. Every last one of you did. And if you didn't, you're going to go there today. Pastor Marcus, I think I'm too old. I've passed my prime. I'm too old now. So I don't know about this dream stuff. I'll let the young kids have it. Until the age of 52, he sold paper cups and milkshake mixers. Eventually became the founder of McDonald's and built it into the most successful fast food chain in the world. Anybody heard of Mary Kay Ash? Some of y'all sell it, don't you? Who sells Mary Kay? All right, there you go. Until 45, sold books and home goods door to door, eventually became the founder of Mary Kay Cosmetics and one of the most influential businesswomen in American history. Anybody know who J.K. Rowling is? Until the age of 31, a single mom on welfare. My daughter reminded me in the first service, she says that she took the draft of her book, Harry Potter, to author after author, to publishing house after publishing house, and was denied, was just shut down. On welfare, 31-year-old woman, single mother, on welfare, got this book. Now that, I've seen people stand in line overnight to get that book. Who's gonna stand in line overnight to get yours? You don't get it. You don't get it. You don't get it. You don't get it. If you don't start speaking faith for yourself, if you don't start saying it for yourself, it won't happen for you. I can't have faith for you. I can wish the best for you, but you have to speak it for yourself. Who's going to stand in line overnight to get into your concert? Who's going to stand in line overnight to get your product? Who's going to stand in line overnight? One of my favorite people in the world is Winston Churchill. Accomplished artist who didn't start painting until his 40s, and he was awarded for much of his art. He won a Nobel Peace Prize. He had a speech impediment, but became known for his stirring speeches. Lost several elections before becoming prime minister in his early 70s. He said this: success consists of going from failure to failure without loss of enthusiasm. Do y'all know? Somebody started to clap. Go ahead and clap. Man, what's wrong with y'all? Y'all see? Last time I checked, we were in church, right? Who told you couldn't clap? Like, well, I don't think that's appropriate. Hey, listen. The word enthusiasm is a very interesting word. It's a Greek word. It has the word God in it, enthusios. The word enthusiasm means to be possessed by God. When he gives you his big dream, he possesses you. And nothing will stop you until his big dream comes to fruition. How many people possessed by God today? Let me hear it. All right. Lastly, obviously, you can't talk about a dream without talking about one of our greatest dreams of all time. I said this earlier, and I thought it was interesting. When I was a kid in high school, I remember doing a paper on Frederick Douglass. Something stood out to me in that report. It was so interesting that when he was sold away from his mother, one of the slave owners told him to walk with his eyes cast down and to sleep without a dream. To tell a person that they cannot dream when they sleep is ultimate slavery. It's ultimate imprisonment. Because you shouldn't be able to control what I dream about. Martin Luther King, August 28th, 1963, I believe. The Mall in Washington. He's standing there, and I didn't know this, but he was not even supposed to give the dream speech that day. It wasn't scheduled for that. As a matter of fact, he came in last on the roster of speakers. They were like, we need somebody to fill in. We got 4 minutes. Who wants to speak? And he was like, I'll speak. And they thought the cameras would pack up and go home, but because it was him, they were like, no, let's stick around. 250,000 people, over a 250,000 people there that day. So he gets up, starts to do his speech. He's talking eloquently. And that day, there were so many people on the thing, Joel Baez, Mahalia Jackson, and some other speakers. He's speaking, and in one of his dramatic pauses, it was Mahalia Jackson who stands up from behind him and says, tell him about the dream, Martin. And that's when he switched and started talking about the dream. He would have never talked about the dream. Come on, let's look at orchestration for a minute. Come on now. If this wasn't his intention, watch this. Because a few years ago, he gave that same speech in Detroit. Mahalia was there and heard it. Watch this now. So she recognized and connected with the dream. The dream was so good for her that day she was like, I know what you're talking about, son, but tell him about the dream. Because what a beautiful backdrop for this dream, to vision cast, to stand in front of what they call the great emancipator, and to have a captive audience of not only physical bodies, but TV. And to tell of this dream. Hey, was it his dream? I know he said, I have a dream, but that dream came from the Father. A dream of brothers and sisters of all colors and all walks of life, loving each other and caring for each other and respecting each other. I know I said it last year, but it's worth saying again. Standing up here, I'm looking at his dream. Oh, come on now. Come on, y'all. I'm closing. But do you realize that there was a time, I grew up in the Church of God in Christ, and there was a time when the founder of the Church of God in Christ, Charles Harrison Mason, there was a time when he was jailed way back in the, God knows what the 30s, thank you, that he was jailed because there were white parishioners who would sit in the balcony and there were black parishioners down there, but the Spirit of God got so high in the place that the white folk came down and said, I got to praise God with you down here. And they started to mingle together, and they began to praise God together. The Spirit of God has a way of doing that. I don't care where you're from, I don't care what color you are, the Spirit of God comes in and makes us one. So today, I stand here today and I'm looking at his dream. I see white folks sitting next to black folks, sitting next to Puerto Ricans, sitting next to Africans, Jamaican. I'm gonna get in trouble if I keep going because I don't know. Well, somebody said Trinidad, what? Well, okay, all of y'all. And we worship together. This is good. Come on, somebody. This is. Stand up on your feet if you will. Stand up on your feet. I hope you got something today. Hope you got something today. I want to pray with you. I want to do something though, because I believe in the power of prayer, and I know this doesn't seem like it has anything to do with anything, but to me it definitely does. How many believe in the power of prayer? You believe in the power of prayer? How many believe that healing is the children's bread? Okay. I want everybody to call out the name Paul DeCarolus. Call it out. Paul DeCarolus. Say, be healed. Be healed. All right. Now we're going to pray. Paul DeCarolus is not, for lack of a better word, he's not doing well. I'm foolish enough to believe that in a room full of believers, that when we come together and we connect our faith, that God has to do something. Call it what you will, call it whatever. I just believe that when we connect our faith where 2 or 3 are gathered, come on, So let's now bombard heaven right now on behalf of Paul the Careless. Come on in, let's pray for him. Father, we thank you. You must do something about Paul. You must do something about Paul. Ease his pain, ease his suffering. Be in that room, be in that house. Just as you did in the Bible, and just as you have done in my life, and I've seen it, bring peace, bring comfort, and bring healing now. And we, your children, connect in faith, and we believe that you are a healer and that you can do the impossible. So we collect together, Father. We come together now, and we know that you are God who can do all things. You made him, you can make him better. You made him, you can make him feel better. So we ask now that you move on Paul. Every cell in his body must come into alignment. Everything that's foreign must leave. The power of God compels. And so we thank you now. We thank you now, Father. We celebrate right now. We worship you right now. Come on and lift up those voices. Lift up those voices. We thank you for the healer that you are. We thank you for being a healer. We thank you for being a healer. Come on and lift those voices and say, be healed. Be healed. Be healed. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. I feel excited. I don't know about you. Call me crazy. But Lazarus was dead for 3 days. And Jesus came and spoke beyond death and brought him back. And if I don't believe that, then I might as well hang up my Christian card. But I believe